Hello everyone, welcome to the 5th episode of RowMMo. And today is a special day, because today we will talk about Rivers Will Flow. Maybe not the best song on the album, maybe not the one I'm most proud of, but forever my favorite because of how much it means to me. This song tracks back years. In fact, one of the very first things I ever wrote for this thing was that exit intro. Or rather, it was an intro when I first wrote it. The exit riff that plays towards the outro of this song. It was a very old GarageBand project. Probably the first one I ever started that I made and thought sounded good. The first GarageBand I started that I thought, this I'm going to turn into a song, and it never became anything. But I still have the file. And back then, it was very much just an aha moment. It was me thinking to myself, what do you need to have a great song? That's right, a great riff. So I just started playing, and that's what I came up with. I soloed over it, I tried singing over it, I just tried to brainstorm with it. And I didn't find much in it, I just had it there. But I did write a lot of lyrics to what this song could be. In fact, that's pretty much where the story revolves around of. Me trying to write my magnum opus. Me trying to write the best song I could make when I had zero talent. I just wanted to write something good. So whatever thing I found, whatever idea that popped into my head, I wrote it down. I recorded it. And a lot of these made it into the final song. And I feel like when I put them together, the reason that the song kind of failed, I still really do like it. I think it's one of the absolute best ones on the album. But the reason I feel like it failed was because they tried to push so much into it, and it just became boring. Some of them didn't, however. If you remember, people were asking me about that line of text that's at the beginning of the What About Me music video. That was actually one of the lyrics to this song. So even though I didn't use everything, I saved basically everything I wrote down. And that thing that I can't really remember how it goes now by mind. I don't have a script for this, I just rabble. Something about seeing the light for the first time. People asked me what was that supposed to represent. And I can say now confidently that it's supposed to be representative of you being born. I feel like I have a recollection of people asking me that and me being like, no, that's not true at all, because I don't want to betray, or I didn't want to betray where these things come from. I just wanted to be cryptic. But now I can confidently say, yes, it's supposed to be representative of being born. And in the aspects of that thing, it basically says, maybe you shouldn't have been born. Maybe you should have just let go. Because at the end of the day, your life leads to the death of something else. Is the poetry behind it. That once again shouldn't be taken too seriously. I just want to say that this is all just poetry. But it very nicely connects to the rest of the song, the lyrics to it. Which, if we're willing to get into it, Rivers Will Flow is as probably the most convoluted and most interesting song on the album, about an atheist who realizes his depression comes from his lack of faith. I ain't kidding with that. That's what it's about. That's the idea that I got in my head and decided to write down, because people who are depressed because of the lack of faith, they know deep down that they will be happy just accepting what everyone else accepts. I know this. I'm an atheist. And every day I think to myself, it's so much fucking easier to just embrace it, to just believe what everyone else does. But I can't. Because, yes, I love tradition, and I am by heart a Catholic. Or a Christian, rather, not a Catholic. That's too harsh for me. But a Christian. I celebrate Christmas. My entire family is Christian. And I have nothing against it. I would say that to the end of it. And I have nothing against any other religion. I feel like I don't have to say that, but also I feel like I kind of do. I want to, rather. Because in this society, you never fucking know. The thing is, when I wrote this, I was depressed, and I didn't think it was because of my lack of faith. No, I just found this thing that I realized it would be a lot easier if I wasn't an atheist. If I could just say that it has a reason to it all. And I'm also one that believes that randomness doesn't exist, which is terrifying in the same sense, because then you have nothing to believe in. But I also feel like after explaining what this thing's really about, a lot of these lyrics are pretty self-explanatory. And this episode is already way too long, so I won't go too far into it. If there is anything you want to ask me about personally, I would just recommend leaving a comment. I will delve some more into the creation though. I remember writing a lot of these lyrics and the main piano riff, because that's obviously something different about this song, is the piano. It's something I don't usually play, or rather I feel like I play, but it's something I don't usually write on. The piano plus the acoustic guitar was a very nice thing. I feel like whenever I write a song and I start writing text to it, whatever instrument I pick up and play it to kind of by default feels like the instrument it was written for in the moment. But with this one, I played it on a few different ones, and the acoustic just, I don't know, it just sounded better in a way. So that's what it landed on. But then the piano riff at the beginning, those lyrics were actually written at the same time. I was alone, not in the studio, but in the lodge, in the lodge room, late hours after school, depressed for some reason. It was long ago, not that long ago actually. It was in high school, still, but I was just alone. And also that goes to show how long this was in production for, because I had basically the entire song in my head by this point, but I just sat down at this piano and started playing, and it was just like, this is the keystone. I just started singing, and I was like, wow, this is the intro to the song. I just knew it right there. That's it. And things were moving around. I believe in the studio I made the very, very beginning. So these were probably the verse 2, I suppose. But in the studio I made the very, very beginning. And the first time I made it, that was a with all instruments. That was a tutti. But then I decided that the drop off of that into the piano part was too similar to the second drop off halfway through the song, that I decided to cut it and make the entire thing a piano part. and I still think it sounds kind of off because I was using two different mics. I was working on two different studios, one at home and one at school, so it became problematic. Once again, this is not a perfect song at all. It's just the one that matters most to me because it's the one that I feel like I put most of myself into. Doesn't mean I reflect with it. It just means I worked on it a lot. I went through a lot of different versions. Which at the end is kind of sad too, because What About Me is the song I arguably worked the least on, and it's the one I consider to be one of the best. But yeah, this episode is way too long already, so I'm just gonna leave a few easy answers to questions that you might ask at the end. Yes, me saying my life is nothing but a comedy, or your life is nothing but a comedy, is indeed a reference to the 2019 movie Joker. In fact, the whole thing was originally written against me, again on that piano, but I flipped it around because in the terms of the story at this point, I am still screaming out towards the nun at my feet, or the person of God at my feet that those texts are supposed to represent, and telling her or him, no, her, that she's wrong. So those were flipped. Delusional schizophrenic. Yeah. I actually was claimed for the explicit lyrics on a few different auto-generated lyric sites because of that one. I don't know. I don't consider schizophrenic to be an explicit word, but maybe it is. I Make My Own Drugs was not claimed for the same thing on the similar sites, which is even weirder. And to end things with, I know I like to keep my cryptic language, but I will explain one that I was thinking about a lot of times, which is what Finding Your Throne represents in this song, because I like to think it as finding your place in life. And through the song, during the chorus, we see the chorus, we see these lines basically saying, the world lives on, rivers will flow, hearts will ponder, people will fall in love, die, get birthed, whatever you consider to be a good representing of just life going on. Maybe the devil never found good love, representing the world not necessarily existing for a reason, but rather just being there. And kings reclaiming the throne as people finding their place in life. And you say all of these things happen, yet still at the end people are still able to find their meaning. And this goes on for... Actually, there's just two verses of this. I remember it being longer. It is a long song, but it's a stretch out song. The second verse is obviously, you gotta believe in your illusions. And he's screaming out that again in his head. I know the rivers keep on flowing. Madmen wander and demons lose good love. Which again, he's screaming out, people will lose stuff. Bad people will lose stuff, good people will lose stuff. Again, me saying that is not me saying that they're the only ones that lose, or that they can't also gain. It's just one of the things. It's just an explanation of a lot of different things, and that's one of them. Demons will lose good love, and demons representing the bad ones. And then at the very end, rivers flows, flower grows, hearts ponder, and he has gone through this whole thing and he has realized, have you reclaimed your throne? And if we know what reclaiming your throne means in this instance, we can say no. Because he is still unhappy, because he is unwilling to find a fate. Or rather, in the terms of this song, he is unwilling to accept the fact that religion is okay. Because he is a besserwisser. And he has nothing else to do than just blame people for believing what he knows or what he thinks is wrong. He would be happy if he could just accept it and let people live. And with that, we're done here.